Hey everyone, we have a special guest at the Tavern today. We have the greatest American hero, Casey King. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, thank you all so much for having me. I'm just enjoying life now, man. I'm taking a break from wrestling right now and just having fun.
Yeah, man, and we'll get into why you're taking the break. We know you had a little bit of an injury there. And you know, we know you're a staple of the West Virginia. We see you all over the West Virginia independent wrestling scene. We always enjoy seeing you on the card, but I want to take it back to the beginning with you. Have you always been a wrestling fan?
As long as I can remember. So I started watching the early 2000s, and the first guy I ever really latched onto was John Cena. In like 2002, 2003, I used to dress up like him and watch Velocity on Saturday nights. And ever since then, man, I've been hooked.
That's awesome, man.
So were you a collector? Did you as a kid, did you collect any of the action figures or anything like that?
I had a big action figure collection. Every time I would accumulate a bunch, my dog would chew them all up every time. So I would always have to start back over. And now I see these prices of these Superstars figures going crazy amounts of money. And I had pretty much all of them. But every time I got one, my dog would chew them up. And I'd be devastated every time.
It's wild, man, how the prices of that stuff, just the nostalgia factor has driven that stuff through the roof. Yeah.
Absolutely it has. And I try to go back and get some every now and then, but I can't afford them most of the time.
Yeah, it's a kind of out of our range.
Yeah, I had a similar thing when I was probably in my late teens, early 20s. One of my younger cousins was a big wrestling fan, and I had a huge tote of all of these figures, and I thought I was going to be the good guy and be like, "Hey, do you want? I'll just give you all of my old toys." And now I'm like kicking myself in the ass for doing that because everything I gave him was so valuable.
If only we knew what we know now, guys. I'd be selling a small fortune.
So how did you go from, just being a fan to actually wanting to train pro wrestling?
So when I was in college, I went for welding technology and engineering. So I was welding a lot. I was doing a lot of welding on pipes and stuff. And to pass the time, I'd listen to podcasts. And most of the time, it was Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling. And I would listen to those podcasts while I was welding, something I didn't really want to do, but I knew there was good money in it, and I was pretty good at it. And I figured it would be a guaranteed job. But I was listening to the podcast, I realized more and more that I wanted to give wrestling a shot because that's what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But listening, the one in particular was Kevin Steen's, the famous zoo episode with Kevin Steen at the time. I was talking about a trip to the zoo with Kevin Steen. And for some reason, that one really hit me. And a couple of weeks later, I found a training center and I went and gave it a shot.
It's crazy how little things like, no specific or just really specific things like that can draw you in and make you want to do something.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So when you decided to go train, how did you seek out a training academy, or how did you find a school to go to?
So at that time, I had a friend I went to high school with who graduated together. He had started training right out of high school. I waited a few years. I finished college until I went. But he started right out of high school with Bobby Blaze. At the time, Bobby wasn't doing anything, though. And Shane Storm was, and my friend hooked me up with Shane Storm in Milton, West Virginia, and I went up there and met him, and we're still friends to this day. He's taught me a lot, but that's how it was. We a friend of a friend, and I was thankful that I had that opportunity with Shane Storm.
So where were you living at the time you started training in Milton? Like, how long of a drive are we talking about?
I was still live in Ashland, so I was about 45 minutes from me, and it was once a month. It was a major downside to it. They had shows once a month, the third Saturday of every month, and they would have training before. And so it was once a month. I wasn't really grasping what I needed to grasp, only training once a month.
Yeah.
So from there, once you get into training, like, what's your mind going through when you start learning those basics, just, taking those bumps, hitting the ropes, like, what's going through your mind when you're getting that foundation?
For me, it was a lot of, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought I would go and then I'd stand out and I'd get opportunities immediately, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's not really the case for anybody, unfortunately. Yeah. But it was mostly a lot of that for me, is realizing that what I saw on TV wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, and it was going to take a lot to get to where I wanted to be. But that's still my mindset today, really. But the first couple times I trained, especially, like my first bump, it was a reality check, as it is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That wrestling's hard.
Yeah.
What do you think was the harder thing to grasp for you in the beginning? Was it the physicality side of it or the psychology side of it?
The psychology side, especially, absolutely. I picked up a lot of the physical aspect of it pretty quickly. I've been an athlete my whole life, different sports. I wrestled in high school. So I picked up on that, thankfully, very quickly. Of course, it's still stuff I struggle with today. But the psychology, I still don't know what I'm doing in there most of the time. That's something you learn your entire career, though, I think, is the psychology part. But I feel like I was getting a good grasp on it recently.
Yeah, and I can say so. I can, as a fan watching you, I can say it definitely seems like you have a lot of psychology down, because you can really get some good heat.
Thank you. Everyone hates a loser, and no one ever wants to be a loser. So I felt like that I could slide in there and be that part of a show. I don't know if you ever heard the 6 pillars of a sitcom. There's 6 things every sitcom has to have to be successful, and one of them's a stupid person. And if you think about it, every sitcom that's successful has a stupid person on it, and I wanted to be that in wrestling. So with that, I got a lot of heat with that, because everyone wanted to see me get my ass kicked. So
that's great. What made you settle on that? How did you hear about the 6 pillars of the sitcom? Like, what made that pop out for you?
I wish I could tell you where I heard that at. I think it was just some podcast I was listening to. Maybe Good Job Brain is like a trivia show, but I don't know. I was actually talking about it to Bobby Blaze a couple days ago, after I found out I was going to come on here today. But I couldn't for the life of me remember. And I've tried Googling it. I can't find it anywhere. I couldn't name the other 5 pillars, but I remember that 6th pillar was a stupid person, and I grasped onto that, and I was like, I can do that. That's me.
But that's a great pillar, though, because, I mean, especially in sitcom, and I feel like sitcoms kind of transcend into professional wrestling anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, you're right. There is a stupid person in every show that's pretty much,
spot on.
I love it, man.
Yeah. I feel like every wrestling show should have one. And not a lot of people are willing to be that, so that's why I tried to make my stance, I guess.
So how did the gimmick come about? Because the fanny pack, the wrestling for dummies book, like how did that, like, is that all your brainchild?
The fanny pack came from that classic picture of The Rock standing on the stairs with his turtleneck and his fanny pack.
Yeah.
And originally, I wanted to keep just a bunch of rolls of quarters in there. The first idea for my gimmick was a high-class Kentuckian that was better than everybody. As you can see, if you've seen me in the last several years, that is not what I am.
Yeah.
So the fanny pack was to keep rolls of quarters, and somewhere down the line, I started looking like an idiot, and I just ran with it. I don't know. I can't think of a specific time that I switched to that. But once I started getting the fans laughing at me, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
I think the entrance song has a lot to do with that too, man. The entrance song is perfect. I absolutely love it, man.
Thank you. I'm glad you say that, because I was actually contemplating changing it. But since you said that, I probably won't.
Hey, man, like, I think, when I'm at a show, you hear so many just down hardcore, entrances. People want to have that rock entrance, but man, when you hear that song hit, it just puts a whole different vibe in there, especially for somebody coming out trying to get some heat.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So
that was my mindset with it too. I wanted to be different, and that's different.
Yeah, you're instantly grabbing the crowd before you even come out. The music just sets the tone.
Thank you.
I remember the first time that I heard it. Sometimes when you go to a show, you're not completely into it, or you're talking to a friend or something. But I remember the first time I heard that, looking towards the entrance, saying, "Who is coming out to this song?"
Yeah.
and then the book, the Wrestling for Dummies, I was instantly just grabbed by the heat that it was bringing. I love a heel like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what's Bobby Blaze brought to your career, Casey?
Pretty much everything. I trained with Shane Storm for a little while, and after that, some guy in a neighboring city had a ring set up in his backyard, and I trained with this guy named Jarrett Cage, who, if you don't know him, I think he's very underrated as a worker. He's so smart. He knows a lot about the business. Doesn't get his due, really, around here. And then eventually, FTC Wrestling started in Ironton, Ohio, which is right down the road from me, just across the river, and Bobby Blaze was training there. And we met up, and he called me Logan for the first 2 years he knew me, which I don't know where he got that from. But I pretty much owe everything to Bobby. He's the one that's helped me get in shape and understand wrestling, and he has my back with everything. Anytime I ever have a question about anything, I can call him 24/7, and he'll answer, and he'll tell me, and we'll talk for 3 or 4 hours, and that's our relationship. But I'm still training with him to this day. So everything I've done in this business, I owe to him and my other trainer, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point, Jillian Hall. But those two, I owe everything to them, and I can't express enough how grateful I am to have met them.
Now, you hear wrestlers talk about how it's so important to have credible trainers who know what they're talking about, because so many people take advantage of young kids, take their money, don't really know what they're talking about themselves. So to have a Bobby Blaze and a Jillian Hall has to be important to you. What has Jillian Hall kind of added to your game, as far as what have you taken from her that maybe just kind of improved upon what Bobby had already given you?
So they both have very different styles of training, which I think makes the training classes at FTC's Art of Grappling very, very unique. Bobby is an old school. He's trained by the Malenkos, Joe and Dean and Boris, and Jillian was trained by Dr. Tom and all the OVW guys. It's very so. There's a saying that Dr. Tom says, it's wrestling's really simple. It just ain't easy. Jillian helped me realize just how simple it is.
Okay.
Before I got with Jillian, I thought I had a good grasp of it, but she made me realize that I didn't. And now I felt like I was slowly starting to get it right before I had to take this break. And then, of course, tragedy strikes and everything goes down. But Jillian has become just like Bobby to me, one of my best friends and someone I can go to with any questions and any concerns and comments. And she'll tell me like it is, just like Bobby will. If I throw ideas at her and she hates them, she'll hate them. And she's been on WWE TV. She's on the Rumble this year. Right, so she knows her stuff. And anyone that knows her, that's done anything in wrestling, Bruce Pritchard, Dr. Tom, any of those, Fit Finley, they all sing her praises of how good of a worker she is. And maybe she didn't get to showcase that so much on WWE TV, but she's so smart. And Bobby is so smart. And to have those people the two most successful wrestlers from my area as my mentors and as my coaches and as my trainers. You can't put a price on that. You really can't.
No, to have that Malenko pedigree through Bobby, I mean, you're talking about the workers, like some of the best workers in the business.
Yeah. Wrestler of the Year, 1996, Dean Malenko.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned it. We kind of alluded to it. You started doing shows, obviously, and we'll get into all the awesome promotions you've popped up in around the area, but you had an injury, your ACL. How did it happen? What went through your mind when it happened? Walk us through all that.
Jock Sampson, man, I tell you.
Yeah.
Jock Sampson and Ryan Edmonds, man. So it actually happened the day I stole Ryan Edmonds' slingshot. I tore my ACL like 3-4 hours later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I won't get into the specifics of how it happened because, I mean, I may be an idiot in the ring, but I want to give the illusion that I'm smarter than I am in person.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I knew immediately what it was. I'm a huge basketball fan. I've grown up watching basketball. I'm a big Phoenix Suns fan. And so ACL injuries are something I fear. Like that's one of my biggest fears because it used to be a career ender.
Yeah. And
thankfully with technology today, it's not. So I knew immediately when it happened that it was my ACL. And I was supposed to work OVW TV like 2 days after that. I was supposed to do some work for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And then everything just went down the drain, man. It's stressful. It's stressful. But those opportunities would be there when I come back, I think. And if they're not, then maybe I didn't really want them to begin with.
Yeah, I think you've got a good outlook on it because, like you said, it's easy to come back. I shouldn't say easy. It's good. You got to put the work in, but you can come back from those. But when that happened and you had those opportunities, like what kind of like emotional hit was it on you?
I'll be honest, guys. It was tough. After surgery, it got a lot better. But before that, I had to wait a month and a half before I even got to have surgery. And I was just kind of sitting around waiting. Just waiting and not being able to do anything. And I did wrestle a couple matches after I tore it, beat Jock Sampson for the FTC championship. But that was before I got my second opinion, and I knew for sure that I was going to have surgery. I was kind of holding out hope that, best case scenario was a strain or, whatever. But it ended up being torn, and my LCL was torn too, and a little bit of my meniscus, and I'm out for a while now, but it was tough, man. We did a Melina Perez seminar at the Art of Grappling 2 or 3 days before my surgery. And everyone is in the ring doing stuff and learning from Melina, who is also one of the best women's workers of all time. And she was just on Impact for the Women's Championship. And like she's places. She has connections, and I couldn't be in there to show her what I can do. So I just walked in the other room and sat by myself until Bobby Blaze and Chance Prophet came in there and told me to get in there and cut a promo because I can do that and I can stand out doing that. But it was tough, and it's still tough now. I'm just sitting around watching everyone succeed, and I'm happy they are. But I wish I was in there because I know I can add to some of these shows that I've been going and watching, and I can make them better, I think.
Has anyone gave you any advice or any words to lean on that you kind of look to as inspirational during the rehab process?
Not so much inspirational as much as it is just matter of fact, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Melina, I told her what was going on after she asked me, and she has torn her ACL 4 times.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and Chance Prophet, his history of knee injuries, he's torn his ACL.
Yep.
And that's that day when that Melina seminar happened, that was the lowest I got. And having 2 people there who have done a lot in this business, who have been there and have sustained the same injury I'm going through right now, man, they just kind of sat down and told me, take your time. Like, you don't want to do this for the next year. You want to do it for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So take your time, do what your PT tells you, and just put in the work and you'll be fine. And I kind of wanted to rush things, and my plan was to come back before 2022. But I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm going to take my time, and I'm okay with that, because I don't want to just do this for the next couple of years. I want to do this as long as I can.
Sure.
And you've set up enough of a following, I believe. Like, you need to look forward to that return. You know, the longer it takes you, the more that pop is going to be when you return in front of a crowd.
That's the hope, man. I for a while there, I was wondering if I was going to have a spot when I came back, because I see like Pro Wrestling Conquest, love those guys. I was in the main event scene. I wrestled for the Imperial Championship and to crown the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing stuff, and now I see everyone killing it, man. And I don't know if I fit in anymore, but we'll see. But I am looking forward to the return. I can't wait to get back out there. I'm kind of staying away. I've had offers to manage and be authority figures while I'm out, but I think I just want to stay away and enjoy as a fan for a little while. And when I come back, I'll come back and hit the ground running, man.
Nothing's better than a good return, man.
No, and I think enjoying as a fan is that's a good thing. And from some of the people that I've talked to, I don't think it's going to be a problem for you to have a spot when you come back.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case, man. I also hope everyone keeps elevating the game while I'm out too, though. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I want to have a spot when I come back. I want everyone to be better than me. So
what's it been like? You know, Pro Wrestling Conquest is a newer promotion. They've been putting on absolute bangers here in the Charleston area. What's it been like working with those guys and being a part of those shows?
Man, it's been a ton of fun. My first show, it was me and Jock Sampson versus the Ugly Ducklings, and still to this day, that's my favorite match I ever had. And it was just a ton of fun. And I showed people that I could keep up with Rob Killjoy, and I could entertain like Jock, and I could cut a promo and keep up with Jock as best anyone can. Not many people can say that, but I think I held my own.
Yeah, and, I agree. I can agree with that.
But it's been a ton of fun, man. I've actually only had 2 matches there, technically, because I've been doing other stuff. But I love those guys, man. I love Derek, and I love Victor and Jeremy and all those guys involved. It's been a ton of fun. They're putting on a show like no one else is around here. And there's other promotions in West Virginia that I love, but no one's doing what Conquest is doing right now. Yeah. And I think I fit in nicely there. And I hope that's still the case.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to get that return at Conquest. And I think they are doing some really special stuff and bringing in some great indie guys to mix with the local indie guys. Just doing a lot of great stuff over there. And you've done a lot of work with Gary and ASW, right?
Absolutely, I have. I worked every show for Gary, I think in 2019, every one he did. I joined up with him at the end of 2018, and I was still working for him before COVID, and during COVID, those empty arena shows, and I haven't been back since. But me and Gary talk once a week right now, and I think that there's going to be some stuff in the future too. But he's given me so many opportunities that I'm so thankful for. And I love the locker room at ASW. I love the Madison Civic Center is one of my favorite places to wrestle because it's so easy to wrestle there, man. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I didn't get to work the Beckley show they had recently. That would have been real cool because I loved the dome and
it was such a beautiful venue.
Awesome show they put on there, man. I was there as a fan, but I didn't get to participate.
I saw you there.
But yeah, I owe a lot to Gary. He's put me against a lot of big names, and he trusts me. So that's high praise.
Yeah, and I tell you, one thing that was really nice was to see you and Derek in the crowd supporting ASW. You know, I think that's important for promotions around here to, support and help each other, whether it be support or with, talent sharing and things like that. But it was nice to see everybody there just enjoying a show.
It was, man. And it was nice to enjoy a show as a fan, too. Not many times I get to do that anymore. So me and Derek are good friends, and me and Gary are good friends. And anytime I get a chance to support those guys while I'm out, I'm going to. And there's been West Virginia wrestling drama is always going to be a thing, but why?
Right.
Why let it be? So.
Yeah. I think it's it's healthy to the local indie scene when you see you and Derek at an ASW show. We saw Derek at, what was it, Sneed? The IWA Masters of Death deathmatch show. You know, to see these guys just supporting each other's shows, I think it lifts everyone up.
I agree. And unfortunately, I got caught up with some of that drama last year, and I kind of lost some friends that I've been friends with forever. But now everyone's cool, as far as I know. So I think COVID was really hard on a lot of people emotionally and mentally. And
this area has so many good, talented people, and so many, good promotions. I just think this area is a special area for stuff like that, I think.
Yeah.
I agree. I really do. There's so many good promotions running around here. There's no shortage of work. I could work every weekend, twice a week probably around here if I wanted to, within an hour and a half of my house.
Yeah.
But I'm not content with that. I want to travel, and I want to get my name out there, and I want to do more than just West Virginia, as much as I love wrestling in West Virginia.
So since your injury, have you been getting out there and going to other places to get your name out there a little bit more?
Yeah, I've been trying. I've made it down to AML in North Carolina and PWX as well.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to RWA in Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. This last weekend, I was at Imperial Pro Wrestling in Bristol, Tennessee. I'm trying to at least go to one show a weekend and network and get my name out there, pass out some resumes, and help with the ring where I can, where my knee allows, and just shake hands and introduce myself. So when I come back, I can come back. I can be working every weekend.
What's some of those independent promotions out there that you kind of have on your bucket list of wanting to work for?
Remix has always been my ideal scenario, but I don't know when they're going to run again. And when they do, I'll be there, whether I'm on the show or not, just to help out and stuff. But Remix for sure. I want to work for IWA Mid-South at least once. GCW, of course, is the biggest indie going right now. Black Label Pro, AIW in Cleveland. I would love to work for them. Pretty much any of the legendary indie companies that are still around. I want to work for them, and I want to do what Colt Cabana and them were doing on the Wrestling Road Diaries, because that was my Bible in starting training, all three of them. So I want to make those loops, man. I want to work with AIW and Remix and all those guys.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So during COVID, like when that was going on, what did that? Because I mean, you were really hitting a stride right before. And I think there were a lot of people that was hitting strides, but I know you were too. So when COVID hit, how did that affect the stride, and what did you do to keep yourself motivated?
It was hard to keep motivated during COVID. I'm sure everyone would agree with that. But yeah, at the beginning of 2020, I started off the year beating Tyler Matrix for the FTC Championship. That's the place I started my wrestling career, and to win that championship meant a lot to me. I main evented with the Boogeyman in Madison, and I wrestled Jake Manning, who is, one of the best at what I want to do, and I learned a lot from him. And then COVID hit, and staying motivated really wasn't an option for me, unfortunately. So I kind of just hung out at home and watched The Amazing Race. But Bobby Blaze, again, he kept me motivated. He kept me honest. He kept me disciplined. He held me accountable. My grandpa passed away right during quarantine, and Bobby's brother did. He's a hospice minister, and he took care of my grandpa doing all that. So Bobby Blaze is, again, like everything revolves around Bobby Blaze pretty much. He kept me honest, man. He kept me disciplined. And I started training up with Chance Prophet at the Power Slam Academy doing that. I trained with him for about 7 months, I think. and I learned a lot. And I want to imagine that I helped his students a little bit. But that's Chance Prophet and Bobby Blaze kept me disciplined and kept me motivated as much as they could.
Yeah.
And it's funny that 2021, when I tear my ACL, they're doing the same thing. So,
so you talked about some of the just legends that you'd been in the ring with. Like, when you work with these legends in the ring, what do you take from that? Like, what's some of the stuff that you've taken from working with Boogeyman, Jake Manning? I know you've worked with Blue Meanie. A lot of,
Yeah, I've been grateful to work with a lot of good people, good names in the wrestling business, and every time I get to, it's an honor and a privilege. The thing I take most away from it, I can't talk today. I'm KC King. It's fine. It happens. Wrestling, less is more, all the time, almost always.
Yeah.
I love flippy wrestling as much as the next guy, but for me and my style and what I like to do, less is always more. I can get the same amount out of an eye poke as I can, a 450, in my opinion.
I love a good eye.
But less is more is the thing I always end up taking away. And me and Jake did a lot, but we also didn't do a whole lot, if that makes sense.
Right.
I think we ran the ropes for like a minute just reading our books. So less is more, and wrestling is real simple, man. It just ain't easy, and I always go back to that. And since I heard that for the first time, it's what I preach that to people who will listen and ask for my help, and people I'm qualified to help, even though I'm not that qualified. But less is more, man. That's always what I take away, and every time I get to work with them, they reinforce that.
Yeah, so you reminded me of that spot of you and him reading the books. That was such a good spot. I remember seeing it. It was being there and watching it. It was just awesome.
Thank you. He told me when we were talking before the show, he was like, I have my scout book. We can do some stuff with that. I was like, oh, I also have a book. He was like, yes, we can do some stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And I tune in every Monday to Man Scout Monday. And watch him and
Jake's great.
Yeah, it's a good time, and that's really my art of wrestling right now is Man Scout Monday, and it's keeping me going and keeping me interested in what's going on.
So being inspired by a Jake Manning, or being in the ring with Boogeyman, Blue Meanie, and kind of taking things from them, that they have a certain entertainment quality to them. They're not Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, and it's an element of pro wrestling that we all love. Yeah. What does it mean to you when you're in the ring in a spot with a Jake Manning and you're getting that crowd reaction? What's that crowd reaction do for you? Like,
there's nothing like it. Man, when we were running the ropes with the books, and he did a drop down, and then I dropped down right beside him, and we were just laying on our stomach reading our books. The crowd was so loud.
Yeah.
And all we did was lay down. That's all we did. And there's nothing like it. Like, it's the greatest feeling on earth. It really is. And it's the reason I keep putting my body through wrestling.
Yeah.
It's everything. That crowd reaction is everything. And I've been in some shows in front of 7 people that make no noise, and it's not fun. It just isn't.
Yeah.
But you get a show in front of 7 people and they're making noise. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So that crowd reaction it's so satisfying. It's what you work for, and it tells the promoters and it tells the other guys that this guy knows what he's doing.
Right. It's almost like the currency of pro wrestling.
It absolutely is.
It
absolutely is. That's a good way to put it. I've never heard that before, but that's exactly what it is.
It's like it gets you booked. No one can deny someone who gets pops like that, regardless of how you get those pops. That is the currency, that gets you the job.
There was a show I wrestled Shane Kryzak for ASW Christmas Day 2019. And I was still kind of working heel, but I was slowly leaning towards a baby face because I was getting so over. And when my music hit, it was the X Division title, that place erupted. And Gary came up afterwards. He's like, I heard that pop. And next month I was working with Boogeyman. So,
Right.
like, it's absolutely is the currency of professional wrestling. I don't know if that had anything to do with him putting me with Boogeyman, but it couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
So how is rehab going? Like, how is it? I know we talked about it, but how's it going?
It's going good, man. I had surgery June 1st to repair my ACL, LCL, and my meniscus.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first little while there, I was making really good progress. I was going up and up. And at my first follow-up with my surgeon, he was hoping that I'd be at 90 degrees bend with my knee. I was at 120. So I was way ahead of schedule. The last month or so, I've kind of hit a plateau, but they warned me that was going to happen.
Yeah,
they warned me I was going to have to slow down or I'd get ahead of myself and I'd hurt myself again.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be very easy for me just to sit at home and feel bad for myself and get fat and get out of shape and all that. But I'm doing 8 workouts a week on one leg right now. And that's weight training, that's PT, that's stuff at training that I can do with them. As I slowly get better, I can do more and more stuff with them. But it's going good. I have my 12-week follow-up next week with them, with my surgeon, and I think it's going to go real well. Last time he told me I couldn't be healing any better. So it feels really good, and I'm in a really good spot, I think. As much as it pains me that I can't be in the ring, I'm okay taking my time and taking it slow, but rehab is going good. And today, I did a lot of cool stuff. They hooked a blood pressure cuff to my leg, my quad, and they had me doing squats and stuff. And it's a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
It restricts everything in your leg. You can barely move it. Yeah, it's slowly coming along. I think I'll be jumping and running within the next month. So I'm looking forward to it.
So I know you said you were taking a break. You've got offers to be a manager or an authority figure, but you're taking a break. Now, as you're taking a break from this, are you watching any of the current product?
I am. Since I started wrestling, I kind of been guilty of not watching a whole lot of the current product, which doesn't make any sense because that's where I want to be. I want to be, on NXT and WWE. I want to be in AEW. I want to be on Impact.
Sure.
I want to be in NWA. But since I got hurt, I've been watching a lot more, and I thought Walter and Dragunov from TakeOver was fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. They tore the house down, and Christian is one of my favorites of all time. He's the only wrestler I've ever paid to meet. Him and Kenny Omega a couple weeks ago when he won the Impact Championship.
Wow.
So I am keeping up with the current product, and I'm trying to keep up with the indies around me and the indies I want to be at. So I know what's going on, and if someone asks me, hey, who do you think you'd work well with? I can tell them. Hey, this guy's doing this. I think I could slide in, and I could put him over, and I could help him get over. But I am, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm reading a lot. I just finished Tracy Smothers' book. Last week, I think I finished it, and it was a really good book. And Tracy was someone who was always professional and nice to me and always knew my name whenever I saw him. And that meant a lot to me as somebody trying to break in. He always knew me as Casey. And I'm trying to keep up with everything. And I've watched the Wrestling Road Diaries about 12 times since I got hurt. But
yeah, we're big fans of Tracy Smothers, like lifelong fans of Tracy. I imagine like taking this break to me is almost like you're energizing your battery. Like, and I feel like once you get that opportunity to come out, it's going to be something special.
That's the plan, man. I'm not going to stop working this next however long I'm out. I'm hoping for 6 more months, but we'll see. If I'm not ready in 6 months, I'm okay waiting 3 more. I'm not going to rush it, and I'm going to use this time to get better than I was. And that's cliche, but call me cliche because I'm going to be better than I was when I got hurt.
Yeah,
it's just I'm surrounded by too much knowledge to not do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, I'm doing 8 workouts a week. I'm going to come back. My body's going to be transformed, and I think I'm going to have a better grasp of professional wrestling. And I hope that you guys are around to see it, because it's going to be a new Casey King, but it's going to be the old Casey King. And I'm going to keep doing the stuff I was doing that people loved, but I'm going to do it even better. And I'm really excited to get back to it and to entertain everybody.
Oh, we'll be there for it. There's no question about that. So,
Yeah.
So do you have any words for Jock? When you come back, man, you're coming back strong. Do you have any words for Jock or Ryan?
I am coming back strong. And, Ryan Edmonds pretty much changed how I have to live my life for the next 10 months or however long, So, I mean, I told him in that promo that when I come back, I'm going to kick his ass, and that's what's going to happen. And Jock Sampson, they have their hands full with Cole Carter right now, who's killing it on the indie scene.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let them deal with that, but I'm going to be back.
Okay. When they least expect it.
When they least expect it. And I'm going to show everyone that I belong. And I'm not just a West Virginia guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a professional wrestler. I was trained by world-class trainers. I know what I'm doing. And I've been fighting bullies like Jock Sampson and Ryan Edmonds my whole life. So, it's just another day for me.
I love that tagline. I'm not just a West Virginian. I'm a professional wrestler.
Yes.
I love it.
That's no shade to West Virginia, guys.
Yeah.
There's no shade at all. I have so many friends here. There's so much talent, but that's not me.
Yeah.
And I've been complacent for my career. I built something good in the area, and I didn't really want to stray away from it. But now I do. I've got to work with Impact. I've done extra work for them. I got accepted to the New Japan Dojo with Shibata and Scorpio Sky, and I didn't get to go. What if I went? Where would I be now?
Sure.
If I didn't go eat at the Dublin pub on Sammy Callahan's request and get food poisoning and be puking everywhere whenever I got to work with Impact, where would I be? Would I be fine? Probably not, but it's probably a blessing because I wasn't ready then, and maybe I'm not ready now, but who knows? So I'm tired of letting these opportunities pass me by, and I love West Virginia. I'll never stop wrestling in West Virginia, but I'm ready to branch out.
Spread your wings, man.
I think that the fact that you said earlier, you want to be in NWA, you want to be in Impact, if you were content just to be doing shows around here, again, not to throw any shade,
absolutely,
but I think every wrestler should want the most. They should want to be the champion in any of those major national companies, and that's just showing you have drive and ambition.
That's if I don't have anything else, that's what I've got. And I think people don't think that about me because I became so complacent, and because I never really left this area. And I've wrestled in 8 or 9 states, but I don't do it enough, and I didn't do it enough. That's going to change, and I'm going to be everywhere I can be. And with Bobby Blaze and Jillian Hall and their guidance and everything, I don't think there's a limit to what I can do, man. I really don't. And that might sound cocky, but if you ask anyone that knows me and knows my work ethic, they'll tell you that I'm dedicated, man. And hopefully people start showing that, and they will see it. Not hopefully, they will see it. They'll see how dedicated I am when I come back and I'm looking like a statue. All right.
And that mentality elevates the local indies. They'll be able to hang their hat on, hey, that guy who's now in NWA, Impact, MLW, he came up in our show.
That's the plan, man. That's the plan. And I know everyone says that's their goal, but not a lot of people work like that's their goal. And Tim Hagen? I don't know if you know Vance Desmond, Tim Hagen.
I've heard the name.
I heard the name. Yeah.
Vance, he's really, really talented, and he's still wrestling. He was a trainer for a while, but he's my personal trainer as far as fitness goes. Mm-hmm. Helped me out a ton. But he said on a podcast not too long ago, "Don't tell me this is your dream and then not work like it's your dream."
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work like it's my dream because it is and always has been. Sure. So that's the plan. If I don't go anywhere, I tried, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to not try.
Well, awesome, man. We're super pumped to see you, regenerate, get out there and spread your wings and get that rocket on your back. But before we let you go, we have one question for you.
Okay.
So the pandemic's over, you're healed, you're making towns, you can have 3 wrestlers in the car with you, alive or dead. What 3 wrestlers are making those towns with you?
Oh man, Colt Cabana,
Okay.
hands down. Shoot, man, 3 wrestlers. Okay, Colt Cabana, that's an easy one. John Cena is my favorite of all time, so I'll put John Cena in there, even though I think they had some heat or something. I don't know. I'll put Tracy Smothers in there, man.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, man.
That's a good car.
That's going to be a fun car.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun car ride, man.
Yeah, and I'm doing all the driving. So,
There you go.
Yeah. So Casey, let all the listeners know where they can find you on social media.
I'm on Instagram and Twitter at KY Casey King. That's just the letter K, the letter Y, Casey King. I'm not on Facebook anymore because I lost my page for some reason. I don't know. But I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, not on Facebook.
Gotcha.
I'm on TikTok. I've been doing a little bit of stuff there. KY Casey King on there as well. I'm going to post more regularly as soon as I come up with more ideas to post. I have so many ideas, but I can't physically do most of them right now. So KY Casey King across social media, guys.
Awesome.
Well, man, we're glad you stopped by. Again, like I said, we're pumped for your return, and we'll definitely be seeing you. You always have a seat here if you ever want to come back and talk to us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Like I said, I listened to you all, so I was very excited to come on here and talk to you all, and hopefully I was entertaining for your listeners, and they enjoyed this episode.
Man.
We loved it. Thanks, man.
Thank you,
we
guys.
hope you have a good night.
You too, guys. Thank you so much.